is Thursday, October 5th, 2023. It's nice to see you all this evening. Christie, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Prigi? Here. Trustee Usani? Here. Trustee Gutierrez? Here. Trustee Porter?
Here.
Trustee Kunkel?
Here.
And Trustee Bancole?
Here.
We are all here.
Thank you all. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. All righty. So a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
1 second.
Okey-doke.
I would like to remove 7A1 from the consent agenda.
Great.
And, hold on, my computer.
What was that?
7A1.
7A1.
Removed from consent.
Oh, okay, I thought I heard Sir Herb say.
I did, but my
It's on his
computer went blank on me. I gotta find it again.
Okay.
Just a
Um,
second.
We're also removing from executive session discussion on executive session minutes.
Correct. 9, I think it
Very good.
is. 1 second.
789, is that it? Is that it?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. 9 and 7A1, correct?
9, 7A1, and then we will not be doing exec session minutes. in closed
Okay.
session later.
Very good.
Great. May I take
Christie,
the roll?
call the roll.
You. Trustee Husani? Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Proclamation on Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Abby? Well, hi, Abby.
Please need to come to this mic here.
Let me read the proclamation.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
We'll get a photo together, and you can read
Perfect.
your words. It'll make me
Perfect.
look good, you know.
Perfect.
So, proclamation. Whereas domestic violence affects individuals and families across all communities, regardless of age, gender, race, or social economic status. And whereas the impact of domestic violence extends far beyond to its immediate victims, causing profound physical, emotional, and psychological trauma, and contributing to the cycle of violence that can persist for generations. Whereas October has been designated as the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, providing an opportunity for individuals, organizations, and communities to unite in their commitment to end domestic violence. Whereas the theme for Domestic Violence Awareness Month 2023 is Together We Stand, Together We Heal, emphasizing the importance of collaboration and solidarity in our efforts to end domestic violence, and whereas by raising the awareness and fostering a culture of respect, equity, and nonviolence, we can create a society where everyone feels safe and empowered to live free from the fear of domestic violence. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, it would.
Now, therefore, I, pardon me, Rodney Craig, President of the Village of Hanover Park, do hereby proclaim the month of October 23 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the Village of Hanover Park, and I urge all citizens, businesses, and organizations to join together in raising awareness, supporting survivors, and working toward a future where domestic violence is eradicated. I wish you well in your work. Let us stand together, support survivors, and educate our communities to break the cycle of domestic violence, making our homes, neighborhoods, and society safer for all. Well, that's for you.
Thank you very much.
Dave's going to take a photo.
She's going to read.
I'm going to take a photo?
No, she has something to read for us.
What?
She's gonna read.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, trustees, and the people of Hanover Park. Good evening to you all, and thank you so much for including me tonight. I am Abby Lambert, the AmeriCorps Vista of the Domestic Violence Law Practice for the North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic in Highland Park. We provide free legal representation in the areas of domestic violence, immigration, and housing. And we are so grateful for our partnership with the Village of Hanover Park to provide services to survivors of domestic violence. This year, for Domestic Violence Awareness Month and for the year that follows, I ask that we work harder to see each other. We are all carrying something that perhaps rises to the level of trauma. More and more of us have survived a mass shooting or another threat against our safety or the safety of our children. All of us are living with personal stress, and people you know, even if they have not told you, are right now surviving domestic violence. The incident rates are too high to assume that you don't know a survivor. For those survivors, there is no peace. There is nowhere they can go for sanctuary or relief. Their relationship with their abuser, their intimate partner, their parent, their roommate or classmate, someone who is supposed to care for them and even protect them, makes them feel small, unloved, and unsafe. They don't get a break from that abuse, which is sometimes a drip, 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 slow burn, and sometimes life-threatening. And when domestic violence becomes life-taking, the entire community becomes survivors. Domestic violence related homicides are up 64% since the beginning of the pandemic in Illinois. And orders of protections are up over 55%. We're all affected, even if we're a town or a village or even farther away. So let's really see each other. Let's connect more. Let's understand our common humanity in carrying weights that we can't see but we recognize and choose to make our personal and thereby our collective burdens lighter. We are all carrying something, and survivors we serve, the survivors of domestic violence, are surviving all the time in the most sacred of places and need us to start merely by seeing them. I'm grateful for all of you, and I look forward to the work that we can and will do together to see survivors and make our community safer for survivors and therefore for all of us. Thank you again for all your dedication to keeping our communities light on domestic violence.
Well, Abby, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, I've been on the leadership board with Wings since I've been the mayor, so I'm a little over 16 years. And so I have a butterfly. So I have a strong appreciation for what you do.
Thank
And the
you.
work that
Us
you
as
do.
well.
Stay healthy, continue to support where you can, and we do appreciate all that.
Will do. We appreciate you guys too.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get, where? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And meet my board, please.
You can lock up your shake hands. Thank you.
Walk on by. Anyone else?
Nobody else is here.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Came all the way from Highland Park. Wow, that was nice. Okay, I have a proclamation. Where Arts DuPage has regularly issued official proclamation to all the cities and villages in DuPage County on an annual basis, designating October as Arts DuPage Month. And whereas the arts embody much of the accumulated wisdom, intellect, and imagination of humankind, and whereas the arts enrich us as individuals and play a unique role in the lives of our families and our communities, and whereas the arts promotes a better understanding of the diversified cultures within our communities and unify us regardless of age, race, and ethnicity. And whereas the arts sector in DuPage County consists of 2,272 arts-related businesses and accounts for 4.2% of the total number of businesses in the region. A larger share of the economy and transportation tourism agriculture, and construction. Whereas the arts provides full-time employment for over 15,000 workers in DuPage County, and whereas the arts improve our economy, enrich our civic life, drive tourism and commerce, and exert a profound positive influence on the education of our children. And whereas the arts help lead us through the darkest times in lifting our spirits, unifying our communities, and providing entertainment. The arts also play a vital role in enlivening our communities, driving economy, and elevating the appeal of our county. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Rodney S. Gregg, President of the Village of Hanover Park, hereby proclaim October 2023 as Arts DuPage Month in the Village of Hanover Park, and call upon our community members to celebrate and promote the arts in DuPage County. And we had a wonderful arts event this year, and what was the artist's name?
The Warhol.
Warhol, the Warhol exhibit. I really loved it. I even have a Warhol photo of me myself. Don't I look funny? Gotta take my breath. Whereas breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed center among women worldwide, impacting millions of lives each year, and also affecting men. And whereas breast cancer disease that knows no boundaries, transcending age, race, ethnicity, and social economic status, affecting individuals and families across the nation and around the globe. Whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month serves as an annual reminder of the critical need for continued education, advocacy, and support to eradicate this disease, striving for a world where no one has to face a breast cancer diagnosis. And whereas individuals, organizations, communities are united in their commitment to raise awareness about breast cancer, promoting early detection, offering support for those affected, and advocating for access to quality health care. And whereas the collective effort of healthcare professionals, researchers, survivors, caregivers, and advocates have brought us closer to a future without breast cancer, reminding us that the strength and resilience of those affected by this disease. Now, therefore, I, Rodney S. Gregg, President of the Village of Hanover Park, do hereby proclaim the month of October 23 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Village of Hanover Park. I urge all residents to join in raising awareness about breast cancer, supporting those affected by the disease, and advocating for continued research and improved access to health care. Let us come together as a community to honor the survivors, remember those we have lost, and work tirelessly toward a world where breast cancer is but a memory. Thank you. And now I have one more. Okay. Whereas manufacturing is a vital component of the economy in the United States and the state of Illinois, whereas Manufacturing Month provides an opportunity to recognize the contribution of manufacturers to our local economy and the quality of life of our community. And whereas, according to the State of Illinois Department of Commerce, manufacturing is its third largest industry in Illinois. And whereas there are 12,507 manufacturing firms in Illinois that employ over 572,500 manufacturing workers with an average annual income of $72,488. And whereas the Village of Hanover Park is home to more than 50 manufacturers that produce goods ranging from food products to robotics to radio frequency electronics, with a total combined revenue of more than $22 billion. Whereas manufacturing is a key driver of innovation, productivity, and economic growth. And whereas manufacturing provides high-quality jobs that support families and communities. Now, therefore, I, Rodney S. Craig, President of the Village of Hanover Park, do hereby proclaim the month of October 23 as Manufacturing Month in the Village of Hanover Park, and encourage all residents to recognize the importance of manufacturing to our community and consider careers in the manufacturing sector. Whew. Now we have a presentation from the alignment. Herb Porter. we have an alignment presentation.
Yes, Chair. Yeah, he'll go ahead and play the video. This is to give the board an idea of the summer internship program and the work that Alignment is doing for the residents of Hanover Park. And this is just one of those very influential and very helpful programs that they provide to our community.
Very good.
Being in the hospital, being in the pharmacy, helping people has really helped me to grasp a better understanding how medicine field works, especially in the pharmaceutical setting.
In civil engineering, there's so many more branches rather than just city planning, roads.
I chose this internship to go through with this internship was because I'd taken multiple engineering-based classes during school in which I worked over extensive time periods with team members on engineering projects that lasted the whole year, and I was excited to apply that knowledge to a real work-based environment.
This internship would really help me in the future because of how well it shows what the real world is like. It really shows the real world situations that you get put in. You can understand in the classroom, but if you can't apply it in the real world, it's not any use to you.
I think it's definitely set in stone that healthcare is what I want to do, and I really realized that I like doing this.
Probably something I've achieved is my leadership skills and being able to get them all involved.
I just wanted to have the trustees and the administration view that video of the very successful internship program, and I understand that there's been some outreach from within Hanover Park to possibly participate in the internship program next summer. So as a governing board member for the Alignment for Collaborative Education, I serve on that board along with the mayor. I just want to convey the thanks and the gratitude from Alignment for the grant that Hanover Park produces each year that allows them to produce these meaningful programs for our kids. So thank you. And as you saw there, that video was produced by the interns. So the students did a great job in putting that together. So on behalf of Alignment, thank you to the board and thank you to the administration for your support.
And I'd like to thank you, Herb, for filling in on me where I started. You know, when the alignment first came to U46, there was a big gap that they filled, and they've been incrementally more successful. I was there yesterday for their kickoff, and welcoming. Our fire department was there. I want to thank Chief. I want to thank you for organizing that. We were also able to bring the truck in so that try to stir the emotion and opportunities with fire for our community. And hopefully, while we can't hire them tomorrow, we can certainly hope down the road that Hanover Park is a destination for individuals that want to have head of household type of jobs. So that's quite nice. So Herb, thanks for pulling that together and bringing it in.
Well, thank you for attending. The mayor's referring to the Explore event, which took place at the Now Arena. And I think that I've heard that the participation was about 700 to 800 students over the course of the event. Very well attended. Many manufacturers were there, many in the healthcare industry. Obviously, our chief was there with our fire department representing a lot of individuals from first responders, public works, and it gives seniors within U46 an idea as to the career paths that are available. And so they get to go and actually meet and talk with the owners of some of these companies, many of the management people, and talk about careers in this diversity of fields and options, which I think is so helpful for our kids, because we have determined that the traditional college-based course, while still the preferred and the preferred method of advancement, is not the only, and it's not even necessarily always a better path to future employment and to being a gainful worker and wage earner in our country. So it gives kids some options. It lets them know what's out there. It gives them options. It gets some focus in high school, and so that they can have better outcomes with their career choices. So that is just one event that that Alignment puts on, and once again, Hanover Park is a participant in these events. So thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Okay, moving on, Town Hall. I have Hank Romero. You have 4 minutes and 60 seconds.
Not enough time. Okay, here we go. Okay, getting down to business. I don't want to cause trouble, and the other thing is, vengeance is God. I'm not going to take vengeance because I want to go to the right place, and God has vengeance. So whoever's doing wrong, we don't have to worry. They're going to pay because God knows where to hit them. So he take vengeance. It says in the Bible, don't take vengeance. They got to take the vengeance. And that's the way it works. But anyway, I'm talking about the rocks. I got to go to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, 4 or 5 hours away. I have to go there, look at the boulders I need, then load them up in a truck, and that probably take at least $1,000. Get another, I got a truck driver, $150 an hour, which take 4 or 5 hours to get here. Then it's going to cost me, and I'm going to need one of those, the big, humongous thing to put that thing down. So I figure I'm looking probably like $300 an hour to do that, or to get the rocks, to get the rocks in the place. So I gave up on that idea because the rocks are not going to stop the guy whose wife left him. His kids are taking drugs. His job is being sent to China. It's kind of a hard life, but we got to live in it. You got no choice. It's a hard life, but you got to live in it. It could be helped, but you got to live in it because you got no choice. So I figured if the village lets me put if they don't want to put the rail, extend the rail the way it's supposed to have been done, I'm willing to pay for it, to put it down, and give me the company that puts the rails in with the sheet metal, you know, because that's going to stop a car. I mean, I don't want to get the guy to die, but I do, if he does hit my guardrail, I'm going to sue him for reckless driving. So that's what the village should do. Should a guy gets off the road, sue him for reckless driving. I got 2 minutes. So anyway, no, I got 3 minutes to go. I got 2:08. So anyway, we put into the grail. I don't want to go to court because I can lose. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to win. I can apply the money I'm going to spend in court with a lawyer. The lawyer, I got a guy who seems to be reasonable, but still it's going to cost money which I could put into their guardrail. You know, it's very simple. I don't want to put this guardrail up, but that's safety. It's my safety. And the guardrail is not supposed to be put in where it's at now because it's only put in for people that are going to run off the road and get killed. So, and the guardrail is already behind the bushes. It was put in to protect people in my, not my mother's property, but eventually be my property. But if she ends up in a nursing home, I might not be my property. So I'm helping my mom because I was born and I got to help her. That's it. So what are we going to do and who do I talk to? That's a good question. Another thing is, I was right, there's no freedom in America. We got 400,000 slaves. 400,000 slaves in America. 80% are women and children. That means 320,000 women and children are slaves, and they're probably sex slaves. And you got 80,000 men, or 80,000 men, there's also slaves. Or they steal the women from here and they send them to another country. Other countries don't got slaves. Another thing, if we got guns being aimed at us all the time, you know, from other countries, you know, we ain't got no freedom. You know, if they got to take me out to save 1 million guys, they're going to do it because, I mean, they got no choice. And then, you know, or, you know, if they take me out to save 1 million men, I'm willing to volunteer for that. What can I tell you? I always want to be a doctor, but I don't have the memory. So you got slaves in other countries. You got weapons aiming at us. If they weren't able to touch us, but we annihilate them completely off the face of the earth, they probably, we got bloods on our hands. So yeah, we can win. They can't touch us. We're the tough guys. Nobody messes with the bone like we say in Cuba. Well, where the part where I come from. Everybody likes to mess with the ham because the ham is easy to mess with, but nobody messes with the tough guy. And that's what America is. It's a tough world. We got 9 flotillas going around the world with nuclear warheads. I mean, like I said, you know, I'm not representing anybody, but I got 15 seconds. I'm going to be, if I haven't figured out how to be president of Cuba, but if I do make it, we're going to have the best nursing homes in the world. You know how I'm going to do it? I'm going to print that machine, and I'm going to pay these people to work in nursing homes. I just haven't been able to figure out how to be president yet. And another thing, they got the conga. Give me 5 seconds. The conga dancing down the street. If you're not charcoal black, you can't dance with them. But if I'm president of Cuba and we have the best conga in the world, we only have to be in Brazil. If we have the best conga in the world, I'm going to be dancing down the street with them.
I look forward to you dancing down the street.
The black, charcoal
Thank
black.
you,
If
thank
you're not
you.
black, if you're not charcoal black, you ain't black enough.
Thank you, Hank.
Thank you.
All right, next I have,
Come on up.
who?
Hi there.
Good
Can you
evening.
tell everybody
Hey,
your
good
first and
evening.
last name?
Yeah, my name is Ram Kalangari. I live off of Farmstead and Fairhaven Drive. So I just, thanks for, this is the first time I'm coming. I've been here for so long, I never came. I'm glad I came. No, basically my request is a very simple one. We have this street called Farmstead Lane between Hartman Drive and the Wise Road, right? And everything was good, and I think last year sometime they introduced the overnight parking, which was not allowed, and also during daytime, now they're letting cars park on both sides. So this is like a real narrow street as it is. and people are parking on both sides during the daytime, and people even like small trucks, I think, who work there and all that stuff, right? So it's very hard to navigate through, and especially for the school buses and the garbage truck, and God forbid, a fire truck has to come and navigate, right? All I'm requesting is to enforce the odd and even parking during the daytime too. That way, one side of the street is clear and it'll be better. I mean, that's all the request really is.
We're familiar with the street. I know we addressed it a number of years ago.
Yeah.
We can take another look at it. Is that the street that has the 20 new townhouses?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's at the end of the street.
okay.
End of the street. But this is, and also one other request I would put also is like if you can put one more stop sign by Hartman and Farmstead Lane, that would be great, because there are kids always walking to the park and coming back, and cars are like just driving by. And this parking situation definitely needs to be addressed. I mean, that's what my request.
Okay, so you're stepping on areas, which are good, but we need to have you communicate your concerns with the police chief. So if you can exchange your contact information and then
Okay.
follow up with the police chief. He's sitting here tonight. He'd be happy to.
Oh, okay. I mean, actually, I did make a couple of phone calls too. I mean, I tried to explain the situation. Then I thought this is a bigger forum to come and talk. So
So you're welcome.
Thank you.
We're here for you.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sir, can you clarify where you're requesting the stop sign?
Between at the intersection of Farmstead Lane and Hartman Drive.
Farmstead Lane, okay.
Yeah, there is one already, but it should be like a two-way. That way people from both sides will stop, and otherwise people are coming on Hartman Drive, right? There is no stop sign on Hartman Drive. They're just zooming past. And there is a park right there where kids cross and go, and also to walk to the school.
So the chief has a regular review of these situations, so please share your information.
Okay, so I should just
Yes,
talk
We
to.
need to take that paper and share it with the board.
Oh, okay.
I'll send this to everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Okay. Very good.
In our last town hall, we have Anuja. Isn't she gonna talk with the? No, town hall.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Mayor and Board of Trustees, I want to first thank you for extending the LOC when we started this discussion. When I first came in, I was requesting the work to be extended by 2 years, and I'm still requesting that. I still need that. After the last meeting, the board had agreed. The board had decided to extend it by a year, but we had got caught up in the cost of the pending items. It took some time to resolve that, but finally we've been able to resolve it, and there's enough money in the existing LOC to extend the work for 2 years, and then the LOC for an additional year after that. So the village would be not at any risk if you allowed the extension for the work for 2 years. You've probably been keeping up on the market and the economy, and by all indicators, it's just gone sideways. The Fed is calling for another rate hike. The interest rates are already too high. The mortgage market, the real estate market has been heavily hit by that. We've not been able to make even one sale this year. We were able to rent the home, so there's no vacancy, but this was a for sale development. It was not my idea to rent these homes. The rent actually doesn't cover the expenses of the home. So it seems very, very unlikely that we'll be able to start construction in coming spring of 2024. And that's why I'd asked for a 2-year extension of the work. and then that would require the LOC to be extended 3 years. I wanted to just point out that Unit 2 of Veranda was a really large area of almost 4 acres of land. 90% of it has been completed through some very challenging times, taking on a lot of financial risk, which I've really struggled with, but I still did it. I really did like whatever I could do. The work that's remaining is largely related to these 2 vacant lots. It's the sidewalk around the future buildings, and then the final layer of the roadway, and some related work. So it's not work which is interfering with anybody's daily living. Lisa, you had brought up last time quality of life. This work, which needs to be completed, will not improve anybody's quality of life. And I don't know if, forcing my hand to do this work 1 year from now, it'll not get anyone anywhere, and I'll be in a worse position than I am now. So it's my plea to the mayor and to the board to allow the work to have a 2-year extension, and then the LOC to have like a 3-year expiry once again. The village is not at any risk. The engineers have met collaboratively to determine that there's enough funds in the existing LOC for that.
So you're asking us to consider that for the next meeting?
The way
It's not on the agenda today, correct?
So the situation is that they have one more meeting to make a decision on the LOC, so that will be on the October 19th meeting, but the direction that the board had given at the last meeting, what this was discussed, was 1 year to have the work be completed, and then an additional year before the LOC was closed out. In conversations with the developer, her communication was that she really needed 2 years to complete the work and an additional third to be closed out. So her only opportunity was to come before you this evening to see whether what your direction, because she needs to produce a letter of credit for the next meeting's packet.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming before us. I think the board has heard your plea.
Thank you.
My concern is the people that are living there, are they being stressed by something that's not being completed, a sidewalk or whatever? So please look at that and see what you can do.
And that part we've done, Mayor. I've had the village engineer come out. I've had several of your trustees come out. The work that's remaining is limited to 2 vacant lots on which future buildings would go. There is no other sidewalk which is incomplete. The roadway is fully functional. It just lacks a final surface layer, which all developers leave till when all the construction around it is complete. They're not being inconvenienced in any way. And their reasons to be upset are the development has not gone like it should have gone. I'm equally upset by that, and I'm sure the village is equally upset by that. But there's only so much we can do. I mean, to deal with a pandemic where other very established retirement communities have gone bankrupt, I did the best I could. If we go to court, the judge will look at the balance sheet of Veranda and say, this girl couldn't have done anything more.
Thank you.
So the residents are upset, I get that, but I'm upset and the village is upset too. There's only so much. I've done the best I could.
Mayor, may I suggest that the board have a discussion under my report after the other agenda items, and so that we can determine whether, and the developer can hear whether the board wishes to continue with the direction.
Okay, I would agree with that if the board is okay with it. Okay. All right, so we'll continue that under Juliana's report.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Oh, my turn.
Now it's you, Mayor.
All right. Okay, I've been awfully busy lately. On Monday this week, the U.S. House of Representatives unanimously passed legislation to rename St. Charles East Side Post Office Station to the Veterans of the Vietnam War Memorial Post Office. Raja Krishnamurthy was instrumental in doing that. He's out there tonight, or I would have been there with him. I'm really appreciative for the renaming and recognizing those that, myself included, served in the Vietnam War. The IML conference was exceptional this year. Next year, the conference is moving to the Hyatt after 50 years at the Hilton. Hanover Park Sister Cities was recognized for their, boy, did I misspell that, for their sponsorship of Juneteenth, and well done to our sister cities and Herb Porter for his leadership. Under his report, I'm sure Herb would like to speak additionally to that. It was nice to be down there with them. I've been appointed to the IML Policy Committee on Public Works and Transportation. Well, I should say I've been reappointed to it. I've been doing that for a number of years. And it's my hope that the board members will plan to attend the IML conference on September 19th through 21 of 2024 in the new location, the new hotel. The space will be greater. It'll be more modern to access. Parking will be at least half the cost. And the individual entities that state speaks to are directly affect our involvement. So I would encourage those on the board to attend. I'm pleased to see the Park District is moving ahead, spending grant dollars to replace the Lions Pavilion and restore park facilities along Maple Avenue. If you drive down Maple, you'll see the fence around there. I was, many years ago, when we built the Lions facility, the shed, I was really happy with that. We invested in that, volunteered time, built it. And a few years ago, Park District just tore it down without our knowledge, and so now they've come to the point in time where they are restoring it and putting the name back, recognizing the Lions for that. The Lions Club has been instrumental in Hanover Park for assisting families and working to support quality events in this community. So my hat's off to the Lions. The Park District is also working with School District 54 to restore the playground equipment at Fox School. We've been talking about this for years. Additionally, the village looks to restore the walk bridge to the east of the school over the river to Northway. That needs some restoration, some cleanup, and so we're going to, that's in our budget for next year to get that done. And finally, CMAP is meeting this week to present to its board the plan of action for regional transit. It's direction from the legislature to look at Northeast Illinois about transit. Now, I'm on the Metro board, so I'm a little sensitive to this because CTA, PACE, and Metra are all components under RTA. And they do similar things, but, you know, like CTA has got over $1 billion in debt on their pensions. Metro is 80%, plus 80 plus percent funded. And so there's some disparities there. Metro runs heavy rail and right through our town. So it affects numerous communities, basically a suburban entity, and the PACE is a suburban entity. So we're looking at the outcomes of that. I'll be following that closely. I like to see elected representatives on those boards. I think that's important. Elected representatives are responsible back to the constituents from their area, and I think that's a key component. So with that, I have a number of things from the IML. There's one of the resolution was a request that the municipalities sign off on, gosh, I'll find it here in a second, that we participate in the civility pledge, and that's been been around for a few years, but I think the time has come. I think it's an honorable thing to do for the municipality, and I'll probably bring that before the board in the near future. A lot of good things, a lot of good effort this year. Anthony DeLuca spoke to us about the LGDF, the Local Government Distributive Fund. Our 10% is, you know, it's way down. It's not even, I think it's 6 and something %, but it's the return that we're getting. It's not even covering the cost of pensions. So we've got to really do that. The annual conference, September 19 to 21 in 2024. I've got all this paperwork I brought up here with me. I'd like to share the civility pledge. If we can pass it up and down the dais, you can take a quick look at it. Donna Brazil was there, spoke to us. She's a veteran Democratic political strategist, an adjunct professor and author, and what an enlightening speech she gave. It was quite nice. And our manufacturing breakfast is coming up on October 25th. I will be there with Christy, and the staff will be there talking with our businesses in at Campcraft in the industrial park, our big industrial park. The Wings impact, you know, being on the leadership board with Wings, I certainly have an appreciation for what occurred, what was discussed tonight, and I think I've said enough. I usually try to pass everything along, so turn if you can hand that up and down. So with that, get back on track here. I'll move to approve by omnibus vote items on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we motion is second.
So those items are 7A2 through 7A8 and 7A10 through 7A15.
Very good.
Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
And Trustee Husani?
Very good. 7A1, move to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of July 20th, 2023.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay. Discussion?
Yes, so on July 20th, I had a very long report, and I just wanted to clarify one portion of that report. And so, in my report on page 9 of the packet that was given, where it starred, is the new paragraph that's being clarified, and I will read it.
Thank you.
Trustee Bancole closed by speaking about the discussions the village board and staff had about potentially expressing interest in serving as the new home for the Chicago Bears franchises, excuse me, there's a typo there, new stadium and entertainment district. She noted the current actions that have taken place at the Arlington Heights proposed stadium location, and also touched on the other municipalities that expressed interest in this endeavor. She closed by expressing her disappointment that the board was not moving forward with an interest letter, and spoke to the potential loss of economic benefits.
Great. Thank you, and that has been changed and edited, and we will get that updated.
With approval of the board. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani? And Trustee Gutierrez? Great.
Thank you. 7A9, move to pass an ordinance amending Article 6, Cannabis Control and Drug Paraphernalia of Chapter 66 of the Municipal Code of Hanover Park as amended by renaming the article to include tetrahydrocannabis, you get it, products, and adding to the article a new section 185 prohibiting the sale, delivery, or transfer of that big word, products within the village. I'm sorry.
Ricky has a slow move. Who's second? Kunkel, thank you.
Herb, you,
Discussion?
discussion?
Sure. My question is, I understand the concern about the product and how it's being distributed within our town, and the vendors and businesses that are selling the product. My one concern is, well, it's two-phase. First of all, it mentioned a number of outlets where this is being sold. Smoke shops, gas stations, among a few, where it's being sold. And then the concern was that it is possibly being sold to underage persons or youth. And I'm totally in agreement for protecting our children from any kind of harmful or dangerous product that, you know, they may come across. Here's my question. Did we consider that a way of monitoring and controlling this would be to use the same methodologies that we use to control tobacco use, where we require anyone who is selling this product to have proof of age, for the purchaser to present proof of age. And just like we don't allow minors to purchase tobacco, we can include this and not allow minors to purchase this product. And we can do the same type of safety checks that we perform with cigarettes, where we do unannounced checks to see if the law is being abided by with the operations that we use. We could expand that to cover this product. I'm just concerned that if we have an overall ordinance that bans this from sale, first of all, for some of the businesses who are legitimate business owners, they're not drug dealers, they're legitimate business owners, they'll have to go into the inventory, they'll have to pull these products, remove them, and I'm just concerned with the disruption of the business that would cause by requiring all of these companies to remove these products, rather than if it's something that we feel needs to be controlled, then why don't we take the step and control it and just simply make it age appropriate in terms of who can purchase and who can't. And I welcome the other board members too.
Well, I totally agree with this ordinance. I think it's a smart thing to do. I think with the advert of cannabis, we identify where we're comfortable this being sold. We're moving in that direction with the location. This willy-nilly selling it here, there, and everywhere, I'm not in favor of. It's becoming a problem in the middle schools. They're starting to see more of this. But talking to a number of chiefs and the implementation in Elgin, I think this is a good ordinance. And Chief, would you like to say a few words to this?
Sure. I definitely understand your point, Trustee Porter, about regulating by age, but I think my concern with that is that implementing that measure really only addresses half of the issue, which is that the THC, these products, the way they're being created and developed, there's really no regulation of it, so there's no certainty what people are actually getting. And some of and the reason I included the CDC and the FDA bulletins on these products is because it indicates in there that several of the hospitalizations, it's not all youth, it's adults as well, that are essentially overdosing on these products because there's just no confidence of what actually is in there at all. So that's my main concern. As far as THC in general goes, You know, now with the Cannabis Control Act and the Medical Cannabis Act, in my opinion, that state law now covers that situation and provides an avenue for businesses to sell, you know, cannabis, which THC is the main psychoactive ingredient in there. So I feel like if anybody's going to sell THC, it's my belief they should have a license through the state of Illinois.
Any other discussion? Oh,
Yes. So thank you for the additional information, Chief. And I share many of the concerns that were mentioned in here. Health is important, protecting our youth is important. Trustee Porter talked a little bit about the business aspect side of things, which is what I have a couple of questions about. And so Trustee Porter mentioned that some of these businesses, well, all of these businesses, I should say, are legally selling these products. They're not breaking any laws. And I guess I would like to know what the impact would be. Will this be like a so if we pass this ordinance, will this be a significant hit to their business? Will it be a small hit? I think it would be helpful to know which businesses. Is it every gas station in the village? Is it some liquor stores? Is it all liquor stores? And then also, we just spend a lot of time redoing our cannabis ordinance. And the last time we had like a lengthy discussion about cannabis, I think we were all pretty much in agreement that we would like to see one of those businesses open in the village. And so I also wonder about maybe the correlation between passing this ordinance and then how that may impact a business that we've been trying to actively recruit in the village for a couple years now. So I'm feeling right now like I just need more information, maybe from the business aspect of things, if that makes sense. And I don't know if we already have had those conversations, or if we just kind of looked at this from like a health and youth aspect.
I can, yeah, sure. Yeah, so mostly where we're seeing these sold is in our tobacco licensed businesses. So we did visit all 4 primary tobacco retail stores, and what we found is that 2 of them carry these in a large quantity. So, and when I say large quantity, obviously I can't speak to exact percentages, but we're talking mostly countertop displays. And so we did find that at Galaxy Smoke Shop and Hard Rock Vape. Cigarette Palace carries a much smaller inventory, and Rocky Patel indicated that they don't have any interest in carrying those types of products at all. So we then visited the remaining non-primary tobacco retailers, and out of 20, we found that 8 were carrying these products. Circle K, County Farm Liquors, Greenbrook Plaza Liquors, the Jensen Exxon, La Hacienda Mini Mart, Marathon, Mike's Wine and Spirits, and SB Wine and Liquor were selling these. And we did find the gummy candy form at 2 of the businesses, which is of particular concern because that's the marketing towards youth aspect of this. Although, you know, we did visit the tobacco businesses, I think it's important to note, too, that right now, with nothing in place to prevent this, there's nothing stopping any type of business in town from selling these type of products. So I can't say for sure that it's only the tobacco licensed businesses that are selling them, but that's the primary place that we see them.
Okay. Thank you for the information on the specific businesses. Is there a way we could have a future conversation on the correlation between this ordinance and recruiting a dispensary? Because we've spent now years trying to recruit a dispensary. Sure. And we'd now be passing an ordinance.
Well, first of all,
that is that's in that realm.
I think the dispensary is the place to have this type of product. to have it here, there, and everywhere, I'm not in favor of that. I think our first step is with the dispensary. Let's see how that goes. But having this all over town, I'm not in favor of that. I don't like that leap of faith, if you will, by some of us that think it's okay. For me, it's not okay. I think I've been dragging my heels on this stuff, and because I'm not a great advocate of it. I see the, parents go to the dispensary, they bring the stuff home, it ends up in the schools, and we're seeing the cause and effect of that. I think our police department has had some calls to come to one or a couple of the schools, and so that's an impact. I don't want to see us jump into this at this time. I would like to pass this ordinance and get this behind us. They've done it in a number of communities. I think Elgin was the first. I don't know how many others in DuPage County have, but they're looking at it across the board. So, pardon me?
Let me make a comment.
Okay.
Concern. If you look at subsection B of the ordinance, which is on the third page of the ordinance itself.
What page, sorry?
It would be little subsection B of the ordinance.
What page of the packet?
It would be on the page 46 of the packet. So if you look at little b, it says it shall be unlawful for any do you see it? Yeah. Okay, good. It shall be unlawful for any person to sell, offer for sale, advertise, display, transfer, give away, or deliver any product containing any tetrahydrocannabinol product. Then it goes on to say, and this is the important part concerning your question about the businesses that you're trying to entice to come to the village. It says, the provisions of this section shall have no bearing or effect on the cannabis business establishments licensed by the state of Illinois pursuant to the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Program Act or the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. So they are exempted from these provisions and should have no effect on them coming to the community. In fact, if you really think about it, they may even think that this ordinance is a benefit because it eliminates others in the community from selling the product and gives them the ability to sell it exclusively.
So one of the things that we have to do is distinguish when something says THC. There's a difference in the THC that's being sold in the dispensary and the THC that's included in these products, which is listed at 0.3% or less, which is at that level does not produce any type of effect, any type of high or anything intoxicating, that's the word I'm looking for, any type of intoxicating effect at that level. If you ban that, what you also put in your target sites are CBD oils, hemp products, and all of the other things that are included that have been sold was enacted. Hemp was able to be sold, CBD products were able to be sold, and so now you create an area where these companies that have legitimately sold CBD, which is many people use for pain relief and different remedies for CBD and hemp products, they also become now questionable as to whether companies can continue to sell that and sell those products. I was looking at the CDC advisory, and what they were stating as a recommendation is that these products need to be properly labeled for the level of THC that's included. And let me go back to that. It was in recommendations to retailers selling cannabis products, retailers selling cannabis products should provide information to consumers about the psychoactive qualities of Delta-8 THC. Retailers should report the total THC content on product labeling, including ingredients like Delta-8 THC that may be synthetically produced to create a psychoactive effect. Then it goes on in the next one to say that there are other things that are coming, Delta-9, Delta-10. I mean, so this is going to be a long cycle of these products coming out, and we'll have to go back and continue to amend our ordinance or to adjust our policing efforts, when I think that one of the reasons, and I'm not saying one of the remedies, and I'm not saying it's the only remedy, but one of the remedies is to have our police department make sure that this product is, first of all, is labeled correctly and is being sold, and that the consumer is aware of what they're purchasing. And if we find that a retailer is selling the product that isn't properly labeled, then we can sanction them for that. And certainly if they're selling it to underage consumers, we can sanction them for that as well. I think though, but putting a ban on it when that really won't solve the problem, because it'll continue to be sold. It's already been sold. It's been sold for years here in Illinois as CBD and hemp oil, CBD creams and oils and different products. So I'm just saying, I don't want to create, and I agree with the intent of the ordinance and what it's trying to do. I think the CDC has stated the case for this as an advisory for this going out, but I don't, unless I missed it, I didn't see where the CDC recommended banning the sale of the product in their recommendations. I didn't see that was one of the remedies that they put forth.
So the suggestions I'm hearing is for additional policing oversight, which is an impact on staffing, and there's no way, even if we taxed it, that we would get a return on that investment. Right now, I think the smart thing to do is to set this aside, be out there in front of it, and as things evolve or change, or the state makes everything illegal legal, then I'm okay. But for now, I'm seeing this recommendation come across, and I'm hearing it's the smart thing to do. So I appreciate your thoughts. I know you understand this more than I do, but I think we have to move slowly on this kind of stuff. And I've never been an advocate of, you know, if we're going to have the cannabis, we can regulate and control in the center that we established. All these different places we cannot, and I'm not comfortable with that. So with that, any other discussion?
Yes. So to Trustee Porter's point, I also agree with the intent of this ordinance. And to your point, Mayor, I do think that we should move slowly on this. So I would like to ask if we can have additional time to review this ordinance. Again, from the business aspect, thank you, Bernie, for pointing out that piece of the ordinance that talks about no bearing or effect on the cannabis business establishments. But the ordinance doesn't talk about the perception. Will passing this create a perception of hostility towards that business industry, or will it welcome those businesses and, you know, because this ordinance is passed, like you mentioned, Bernie. I would just like a little bit more information, some data. There's a couple other municipalities that are referenced in this. You know, do they have dispensaries? What's been the impact of this ordinance? So more data would be helpful. But again, I think many of us agree with the intent. And like you said, Mayor, I think we should move slowly on this. So is there a way that we can have additional information on the impact that it may have on our dispensary business pursuits, and a little bit, maybe a little bit more information on the impact that it's had on some of the municipalities that are listed in the memo.
Well, I'm ready to move on it. Additional information can come down, we can always adjust, but I think the way the situation is today, I think we need to pass this, and I would request the board move to pass this ordinance as it exists. So, Madam Clerk, call the vote, please.
So is that a unilateral decision, or
No.
are you saying we can't? Well, it's not a matter of the vote, it's a matter of additional information. So are you saying we can't obtain additional information?
I think additional
and-
information as it becomes available, but I don't want to delay passing this ordinance.
Has our chief expressed to you that this is an urgent matter that needs to be voted on and passed
Well, it's been
tonight?
explained to me by not only the chief, but others, and I think what I'm hearing from meeting with police chiefs, because I'm on training boards at COD and for Northeast Training Council.
Again.
Everybody's moving in that direction. It's the strong recommendation. So I brought it here, and the chief supports it. I put together this ordinance to cover it, and I'm moving that, I'm asking for the support of this board to pass this ordinance.
We're not saying we don't want to pass it. I'm just saying that
Well, I'm not looking to kick it down the road. I think additional information can always come forth. Let's pass the ordinance and then see what kind of additional information comes. But I think this ordinance is important to get it in place, that if we have a cannabis business coming to town, they know that we're trying to protect their business by not permitting this additional weed product all over town. So I'm asking that we get this in place and
Just
support.
to add that, I don't know if this is on, right?
Comment?
Yeah. I agree with Trustee Porter and Trustee Bencoli. Even I didn't have much information on it until we got here. There was no discussion to just start amending before even having a discussion on ordinance. So I need some more time to say yes or no. So I don't want to just vote just because I have to vote. I don't know how you feel, Trustee Bencoli.
that's how I feel too.
Can I ask the question? Do we have numbers or stats on how many, when you read this ordinance and it says that there's no conclusive, there's no restriction, in place to stop children from buying this, do we have stats in place to show that kids are buying this in Hanover Park?
I don't. I just know that it's possible. There's nothing stopping a business from selling these items to children. And when we see them packaged like gummy candy, the concern comes into place. But I can't give you a specific instance, fortunately, yet, where we have, and I spoke with Fire Chief as well about, are we at the point where we've had, a lot of hospitalizations or a rash of these incidents, and we haven't yet. But it's my belief we shouldn't wait for that.
When we contacted the stores that are selling it, did they ever express that the kids were interested?
No, and they say they don't, but again, there's nothing that would stop a clerk from, selling these to a child.
So again, Mayor, you're saying that we cannot have additional time to review this ordinance
I want to put,
and
no, don't put words in my
have
mouth.
not
I'm
additional.
saying to
I'm
pass
still
the
speaking.
ordinance.
I'm still speaking. Earlier, I requested to have additional time so that we can review this ordinance and learn a little bit more about the impact that it would have on recruiting a dispensary, which we've been trying to do for years. And I'd also like more information on how it's impacted the other municipalities that are listed in here. You said that it has to be done tonight.
I'd like to get it in place because this is evolving and I see the impact in our community, and I'm hearing from other communities that are saying, that are already putting it in place. And, you know, like, we can study something ad nauseum, but I think if we pass it, we send a message that, you know, we're not just open land for this use. And I want to limit the use to a dispensary.
Can I just make one last comment, and then we can proceed with that? No user of traditional cannabis products that goes to a dispensary is going to defer to this product and use this product instead of what they buy at a cannabis dispensary. So the very thought that this would somehow be a threat to a legitimate dispensary by selling this product is false in its merits. It just doesn't add up. So I just want to clear the air with that. This will not be a threat to any legitimate dispensary owner where they say, oh, you're selling this product at the gas station. That's going to hurt my business. That's not an issue because, like I said, no one who uses THC products and purchases from a dispensary legitimate THC products is going to suddenly start going to the gas station and buying these products as a substitute for what they buy at the dispensary. So let me just dispel that notion, and then we can carry on with whatever we're going to do. But for the record, I just wanted to state that.
So if no, you know, if there's no, if I'm a cannabis user, I'm gonna go to a legit place to buy it, whether we pass this ordinance or not, makes no difference then to both that user and the possible owner of a shop, of a true dispensary in town?
Yeah, it poses
No threat if we pass this ordinance?
If we pass this ordinance, it does nothing for a dispensary owner. It doesn't matter one way or the other whether we pass this or not. This has no impact on a legitimate dispensary. The only person that this will impact are the smoke shops, and the businesses that the chief mentioned, you know, that they've talked to that won't be able to sell it. And I'm not even as concerned about what it's going to do to impact them. What I'm concerned about is how do we enforce this? You know, the enforcement of it is going to be, in my opinion, and I'm not law enforcement, but I think it's going to be quite a challenge to enforce this because these products have been in circulation for so long. I don't know how we just go in and uproot it and pull them out by simply passing an ordinance to do so.
And we said that we couldn't police it like we do with other tobacco because of staff time, is that what I heard? Why can't this be, as Trustee Porter mentioned?
No, I believe that was the mayor.
That was you? Why can't it be?
No, that was the mayor.
Like, the mayor, like cigarettes and stuff, like the oversight on that, why can't that happen with this too?
I'm sure it can.
Well, the chief
But
answered that question. He can
Oh.
answer it again. Go
What
ahead.
was the answer?
Regarding compliance checks?
Yes.
Yeah, we would handle it the same way we do underage
No,
sales
why
of
it's
liquor.
difficult to regulate it right now?
It's difficult to regulate it because just because the packaging says that it's 0.3% or less, we don't know that for sure. So we would have to send it off to a laboratory and get it tested, which we may have to do if this ordinance is passed and we write citations under it. But I really think that, I think we'll get high compliance levels, I believe, from our businesses. I don't foresee us having to, catching them up selling this stuff if we were to ban it.
All right, let's call the question.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
No.
Trustee Parigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani? Trustee Gutierrez?
Yes.
Trustee Porter?
No.
Mayor?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you, and I understand both sides of this story. Let's see, 7, 8, 10. Motion to award a contract for the 2023 North Metro Parking Lot Landscaping Project to Siebert Landscaping Company in the amount not to exceed $139,000 and authorize the village manager to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Do we have a
Just that we
second?
move from consent?
Pardon me?
16, Ron?
Oh, did I missed the CA. I'm sorry. On the consent.
Oh.
I reserved the right to get on the wrong line. You were on 16. Thank you. 7A16, motion to waive competitive bidding and establish a purchase order core in Maine for the purchase of various water and sewer maintenance materials in the amount of $110,917.22 and authorize the village manager to execute the necessary documents. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani? Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Mayor Craig?
Yes. 7A17, motion to waive competitive bidding and accept a proposal from Siebert Landscaping Company in the amount not to exceed $19,975 for the Village Hall campus entrance wall repairs and authorize the village manager to execute all necessary documents. Further, authorize the purchase of replacement capstones and bricks from Brickwork Supply Center in the amount of $2,755.10 for a total project cost of $22,730.10.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call a roll.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani? Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
And Mayor Craig?
Yes. 7A18, motion to waive competitive bidding and award a contract for the 2023 sidewalk curb and gutter removal and replacement program to Schroeder and Schroeder, Inc. in the amount of not to exceed $110,000 and authorize the village manager to execute the necessary documents. 2/3 vote required.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Husani? Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
And Mayor Craig?
Yes. Move to pass an ordinance authorizing a vacant land contract and sale and convenience of real estate owned by the Village of Hanover Park, 2090 Elm Avenue. 2/3 vote.
3/4.
Pardon me?
Or 3/4 vote.
3/4 votes. Oh, yeah, we're moving up.
So moved.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the property? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
And Mayor Craig?
Yes. I want to thank staff for the write-ups on these, where we needed the 2/3 vote, 3/4 vote. You know, getting the products and the bids is becoming more and more difficult in these competitive days. So thank you for the write-ups that explained all that. 7A20, move to approve warrant 1005-2023 in the amount of $2,313,627.26.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? And Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Thank you. 7A21, move to approve warrant paid in advance, 8/31/2023 through 9/28/2023, in the amount of $1,460,787.83.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Frigie?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Trustee Porter?
Yes.
And Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Thank you. 7A22, move to approve August 2023 P cards in the amount of $23,583.11.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? Yes. Trustee Porter?
Yes.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
And Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Very good. Village Manager's Report, Juliana.
To begin with, there is on the agenda, in the agenda packet, the second quarter treasurer's report as well as the monthly treasurer's report for August. We'd be happy to answer any questions. We will also be talking about these as we go through the budget process where these are at. But if you have any questions about these progress reports, I'd be happy to answer them, or Remy would.
Any questions? Hearing none.
Okay, so then I would suggest that we have a discussion, just a quick discussion regarding the veranda.
Yes.
So I can just get some direction from the board. So where we're at right now is we had Attorney Paul and I participated, and John Stell, the engineer, participated in a conversation on Monday. I think it was Monday. What day was it? And walked through, along with their engineer and their engineering numbers, where they're at, done some work since we were last here and had a discussion with the board. And so that number has come within the 50% mark, which is, John, remind me of the amount, 561,000. So the question right now isn't what the amount of the letter of credit is. The question is that for the public improvements, whether the board would like to see those public improvements completed by October 30th of 2024, or if you want to give the developer to October of 2025 to complete those improvements. John, do you want to just give the board an idea of what some of those are for Unit 2?
Yeah, the remaining ones are the surface
Can you go
course.
to the microphone? Thanks.
Jump the gun coming up here. The remaining items are the surface course on the pavement for about half of Unit 2, the sidewalk for the remaining 2 lots out there that haven't been built. There's some restoration work out there. Then one of the other main costs is intersection improvements at Irving Park Road and Old Salem Road. Those are pedestrian improvements to provide a pedestrian crossing there. And I think that
And
is,
stabilization?
Yeah, the restoration, stabilization of those lots where there's no buildings built yet. Those are the major costs. I mean, there's a few little small items, but those are minor. But those are the main items that are outstanding.
Okay.
So I think that in order for the developer to get the appropriate letter of credit to us for the packet for the October 19th meeting, she has asked that you consider extending the time from the direction that was given by the board and that we've reiterated to her, which is 2024 and 2025. She's requesting 25 and 26.
Thank you. Can I just make a comment here? How long did this property sit vacant before the developer took on this project? How long was that an eyesore, and did that thing sit vacant in Hanover Park? 10, 15, 20 years? I mean, how long has it been since, Menards left there for their new location and that place has been vacant?
Menards left in 2008.
2008. Okay, so here we are, and this project was begun in 2018? 2018, so it sat vacant for 10 years. And now we have a project, a viable project that's going up. And I would subtract the 2 years of COVID because nothing really could take place because of COVID and what was going on. So in 2018 to 20, so it's been 3 years of actual productivity that the developer's been working on this. To my way of thinking, if it takes a few more years for the developer to complete this project that had been an eyesore in Hanover Park for 10 years when Menards left, and if it doesn't jeopardize or put the village in a position where we are have a liability or at risk, then my inclination is to grant the developer, who I think is operating in good faith, and Lord knows there's been some mistakes made on everyone's part, and the developer will even admit, that there have been some hiccups and some things that maybe could have been done better along the way, but all projects have those kind of contingencies and things that happen. You wouldn't be the first developer to have that. My inclination is to grant the developer the extension that they're looking for, as long as the village is protected from any type of liability or any type of risk, that the letter of credit is valid and protects the interests of the village. My thoughts are to give the developer this extension that they're looking for.
Very well said, Trustee Porter, and I agree with you 100% as to how long we have waited, a couple of years more, and then to protect the village as well at the same time. So I copy what you just said.
And I would like to say that I echo Trustee Porter's sentiments, and I also support an extension.
Anyone else? I know Trustee Gutierrez has lived adjacent there, and we'd like to see continuous work over there. I think that would show some goodwill. It sounds like the board is willing to grant your additional time, but I don't want us to sit there and it just goes to weed again. If you can work with us and continually try to restore what needs to be restored. I know this is, I don't know, more than one extension.
So.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think we're just trying to get a sense from the board, because they only have one more shot, they only have one more meeting. So they really need to understand that the entire board is going to be interested in this extension. We, per the village attorney's direction, we had this discussion on Monday, there will be an item on the agenda to call the letter of credit. So if for some reason the letter of credit does not get approved at the amount or the number of years, there's also the opportunity for the board to call the letter of credit to, I just don't want anybody to be surprised, but it's to protect the village, we have that last meeting to do that. That would be the last meeting that we would be able to do that.
To be clear, this means that instead of having the improvements done in 2024, they get done.
I can't hear you.
To be clear, this means that the improvements will be done. What you're requesting is that they be completed by 2025 with the LLC pulled in 2026?
So it means that the public improvements, this doesn't mean that the buildings have to be built. This is only for the public improvements that were mentioned by John. For Unit 2, it doesn't affect the other units. It's just for that unit that's covered by letter of credit, the developer would have until the end of 2025, October 30th of 2025, to complete those. And then October of 2026 would be the end of the expiration of the letter of credit. It would be one more year, one additional more year than what the board had given direction before.
board member have any other thoughts?
No, I think we should grant the extension.
You think what?
We should grant the extension. I'll agree with trustee Porter on what he had said.
And, my only thoughts, I don't want to see it dormant again. I want to see some kind of continuous improvement, moving ahead. It's a part of our village. When you came in here with high hopes and a great heart, and, I don't want Hanover Park destroying that heart. So I think we've come a long way trying to meet your needs. You've done what you can. What I've learned from this, though, I don't know if you like it or not, but when we have a future development, we've got to have a contact, a project manager that can keep things rolling along. And we didn't make that as a part of the deal moving forward. But any future development, I'd be an advocate for that, because I certainly hate the heartache that we're going through with this. And I think maybe that's one way we can figure that out. But please step up to the microphone. This is your time.
I just wanted to respond to that. I did have a project manager when there was active construction going on, and then during COVID time, the cost became just so unreasonable. These project managers are not cheap people, so it was just not feasible to continue them. And then since the last 1 year, there's not been much going on, so we've not had it. But when there was active construction, we had, I don't know if you remember them, Tony and Shay, Cullen Construction Management for majority of when the big construction was going on.
And, okay, I appreciate that explanation. And I also see the evolution of, senior care. We have a board member that has in-home care. And, you've seen the evolution of that. People don't want to leave their home anymore, okay? So we're going through some strange times, and I wish you the best as we try to make a decision that makes sense, not only for you, but for our community and the neighborhood and the look and feel of that establishment, your hope for the future. I see you have for sale signs up on the corners. I don't know how you're going to save tax money on the Long John Silver property, but can you at least share what your intent is? Are you going to tear that down, or are you trying to just sell it as is?
Yeah, I've been trying to sell it as is. Tearing it down will not lead to any benefit, because we have another vacant parcel on the other end of the southwest corner, and this is in the southeast corner. There's not been much demand for land. You've met the realtors who have been marketing it pretty aggressively, Inland Real Estate Group. They have tried to get the word out there. They've brought a few people by. I hate to say this, but it's like a little bit of a blighted area, that area. Like, I hate to say this, but my property has been vandalized twice. It's been repeatedly dumped on. It's going to need investment, consistent investment to get that area back.
Okay. Anyone else? Question for Anuja?
No, thank you, Anuja. That property was a blight. It had sat there vacant, and there was no high demand for anyone to do anything on that property. You stepped up, and what the work that you've done so far is a vast improvement over what was there previously, and so that's why I'm inclined to grant you this extension, to see if you can bring this thing home.
Thank you, Trustee Porter.
Thank you.
Juliana, you have direction?
Yes. Well,
Thank you.
the developer will then take the steps based on what she heard today.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Village clerk's report?
Well, no.
Nope.
So I'm happy to, do you want to go through the rest of the capital?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So excited.
We are very,
I'm back. I'm going to
welcome
move,
back.
I'm going to move very, very quickly.
Oh, we need a
Please,
5-minute downtime.
Cookie, there's cookies.
There's cookies in there? All right. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
We're on page 14. I'm going to be moving pretty quickly, so please shout out if you have questions. The first item on top of page number 14 is the replacement of parkway trees. This is our general program. This will be 100 trees next year to replace places where they've died. The next item is that's for $35,000. The next item, middle of the page, is $50,000. This is repairs to our salt dome and conveyor. The salt repairs, our salt dome is outstanding. However, the conveyor system is trying to eat itself, and we need to work on that. The next
Are we
item.
still buying salt under the DuPage consortium?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The next item are parking lot lights for the Village Hall and the Public Works area. This is $500,000. The existing parking lot lights would be replaced with LED heads. However, we've noticed that we're getting a lot of degradation on the poles themselves, and this would be to replace the existing poles before they rust out. Next item, moving to page 15, is the Village Hall and Fire Station number 1 parking lot maintenance. This is a program where we're going to do basically preventative maintenance. It's going to be some light patching, it's going to be crack sealing, it's going to be seal coating, and it's going to be restriping both at the Village Hall and at the Fire Station number 15. That's $150,000. The next item is the Village Hall parking lot resurfacing. There's one section of the Village Hall right here. It's actually on the Public Works side, sort of, that we have not resurfaced. That is $250,000. The next item is, yes, sir.
To my untrained ears, that sounds like a lot of money for the parking lot replacement, patching, and because we're not replacing, we're just patching. And is it a full resurfacing? Are we stripping it up and resurfacing, or are we just, making repairs on it?
So partially for the Village Hall and for Fire Station 15, that's $150,000. That's going to be patching and repairs. It's going to be striping, sealing, seal coating, other preventative maintenance measures as well. That's $150,000 for 2 different areas. The $250,000 is for an area here on the campus. It's really closer to the Public Works side of things. It's the area in back, all the way in back. That's $250,000, and asphalt is really expensive these days. That is an accurate reflection of what it will cost to do that work.
And so when we did the parking lot the last time, I don't know how many years ago, we did not do the area behind the fence. There was just too much going on with Public Works, but now it's gotten to the point where we can't let it go anymore. It's almost crumbling.
It's a moonscape.
Yeah, so it really needs, that's a full replacement back there.
The next item is the West Branch Steam Bank stabilization. Some of this project you may have already heard of. We talked about the replacement of the Ann Fox grate. This is a project between Schaumburg and in Hanover Park. You've had multiple items for this project. The project is underway right now. This will be the 2024 portion of that project. It's largely grant funded, and it is $3 million. The village's portion, however, is 600 and something thousand.
672.
672,000.
So for this project, we had to budget the full amount of the project in our budget because we will be, Schaumburg will be paying us.
Yeah, we're heading up this project.
We had to put it, and then on the revenue side of the budget, we will show the contribution from Schaumburg.
The next item is on page 16. It's the middle of the page. It's furniture in various locations inside the Village Hall here. A lot of our furniture is from the police station, or I don't think it's original to the building, but it's really quite aged, and it is far beyond its life expectancy. We need to replace a lot of furniture, and will for a number of years.
So is this desk and that type of thing?
This
desk
will-
and office chairs?
Desks and office chairs and tables and all of the above.
All right.
If you can think of it in an office, it will be part of that. The next item is bottom of page 16. It is an air conditioning machine, which sounds odd, but this is actually a machine for the fleet division that will refill and maintain air conditioners in newer automobiles. Refrigerants have changed, so the nature of the way that refrigerants and coolants refrigerants work in automobiles have changed. We can't work on them right now. They're still all covered under warranty, but they won't be very soon. So this machine will allow us to maintain air conditioning. The next item I'm going to have you go to is on page 22, I believe. And that is the purchase of a stage for $20,000. That, right now we're borrowing a stage, and it's been wonderful that we've been able to borrow it. We have the demand now, and we need one. This will be a stage that we can use anywhere in town. It's also going to be ADA accessible. The next item is on page 24.
What size stage will we be getting?
I believe it was, well, it's modular, so it's, I don't remember if it was 6 or 8. I think they're 8-foot by 4-foot sections. So it actually gives you lots of different options on that. But I believe, if I remember right, the squarish option was 18 by 20 or 18 by 22, something like that. It's a large stage.
And how raised is it?
I believe the one I was looking at was 3 feet.
Okay, great.
They have options 1, 2, or 3 feet. I was just looking at the taller one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great.
TJ, would this fall under you? I know at the Business After Hours event, we were renting tables from the Park District.
We usually borrow them, but yeah, yes, they're not our tables.
Oh, so we borrow them? We don't?
No, they rented them from Rose.
Say that again?
Rose Rental. Rose Rental, they rented them for?
There were 3 that were rented and 3 that were borrowed.
Okay.
Okay.
So 3 that were rented and 3 were borrowed.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion of like purchasing tables? Because we're gonna be doing, I mean, we do some events out
we have to
there
store
and those tables are used.
At
Does that
some
fall under
point
you?
in, yes, it would be.
I guess my
No,
question is, does that fall under you?
At some point, as we build out a more robust public infrastructure for that sort of thing, I suspect we will be coming back and looking at tables. There are lots of excellent avenues for table rental that are quick, easy, relatively cheap, and kind of move in and out. That's very available. Stages aren't terribly available, especially like what we're doing. Usually when you say stage rental, it's fairly robust. It's more like a rock band type stage. So that's why the stage is sort of where we're starting. I suspect you'll see more in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Do we rent the tables for courts and crafts?
Yes.
Okay.
And the tents. Tent rental, for example. We don't invest in tents really yet, big tents.
Okay.
So the next is on page 24. We're moving into the water and sewer fund here. The first item is the roof replacement at the Long Meadow Pumping Station, right at the corner of Long Meadow there. And the roof is actually in really, really poor shape. $40,000 will be a new roof for that building. Had a lot of animal infiltration there. The next item is for $100,000, but that's with an asterisk. And this is a new potable water interconnect with the Village of Bartlett. And we have a study going right now. In a perfect world, we would have one water system across all the suburbs, but we're not quite there yet. And what Bartlett has proposed, and we're entertaining, and we're performing a study right now, is what it would take for us to, basically at the Schick Road Pumping Station, to create a new interconnect between their water system and our water system, so that in an emergency, we could feed each other, or we could feed them, they could feed us, should we lose access to Jawa, or should we have a reduced access to Jawa we could supplement. We're exploring it right now. The number in here is 100,000. I think that, and that would, the intent is that we would pay half and they would pay half. I think for our half, that 100 is actually low. I think it's going to be more like double that. We will know in the next few weeks. You'll probably hear me talk about this again at a future budget meeting.
So Bartlett's splitting it 50-50?
There is no agreement yet, but Bartlett has expressed to us that they're very interested in this and that it would be a split.
How do you see the solution between a high pressure and a low pressure water system?
There's only one way to do that, and that's pumps. And it's more complicated than that, because it's also where exactly are we pumping to? Are we going straight into distribution, or are we going into some sort of storage before it goes into distribution on our side? It's really complicated, but ultimately there will be some sort of mechanical intervention involved. Page 24, nope, sorry, page 25. These are electrical upgrades at the Schick Road pumping station to the tune of $300,000. All of the motor controls in that building are 45 years old and need to be upgraded. The next item is the next item is the middle. It's 15,000. This is for a submersible well assembly. So it's basically a well. The next item is one we're actually very excited about. It's $131,840. It is a valve operating machine. I'll be very quick, Julianne, I promise, but this is my favorite. This is a tool. Right now in the village, we have thousands of valves that are in the streets that control the water. And what happens is when we have a water main break, we can shut a valve, isolate an area, isolate a pipe. This is when people get shut off of their water and during a water main break. And that's how we isolate different sections of pipe to work on them. The problem that we have is that we've never had the staff to be able to have a valve exercising program. In a perfect world, we would have a team that would spend a healthy part of their summer just exercising valves. That's never occurred. So right now, a lot of valves are frozen. Sometimes you can get them unstuck. Sometimes they break. We actually had one break today. And then all of a sudden, you go from isolating this section of pipe to now isolating 3 more sections of pipe. So what would have been a turnoff of, I'm making up numbers here, 12 people becomes a turnoff of 36 people, because it's exponential or logarithmic the way that you go out with the valves when you have to start shutting them off. And this machine, better than a human possibly could, you put it on the valve, and it's using negative feedback with a computer, and it will actually, and like micro vibrations, and it can actually unstick a stuck valve, but it can move the valve softer than any human can to gently move that valve back into working condition from a frozen state. I'm not saying we're not gonna break more valves, we're gonna break them, we are. But this will save more valves than we've ever been able to save in the history of the village. We're very excited about this one. Sorry, I geeked out on that. I'll be good. I'll be fast. Top of page 26, water main replacement. This is year 1 of a 5-year program. You'll see it's $4.5 million. I apologize for the inconvenience in advance. We're going to basically nuke neighborhoods here, but it's going to be great because on the other side, we're going to have both new roads and we're going to have new water main. It's all John's fault, by the way. The next item is $50,000. It is emergency repairs. This is an annual program where we have lots of stuff. This is for the wastewater treatment plant. When things break, we have a pot of money to fix them because nothing there ever is cheap when it breaks.
I'm sorry, does that water main replacement, is any of the ARPA money or anything go towards that?
No, we're working on an EPA loan for that.
Okay.
And we've been in a couple of times for that. We'll be back in again, I hope, in January with the final paperwork for that and the acceptance for the EPA loan.
Okay.
So if you remember, it was approximately $5 million a year for 5 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably not.
Oh.
It's not to say that historically things haven't been forgivable. It is extremely unlikely, and I really want to stress that to everybody. It is extremely unlikely that any of that will be forgivable. It's certainly a low-interest loan, far lower than we would get anywhere else. But it almost certainly will not be forgivable.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bottom of page 26, the Ingersoll Rand portable generator. We have multiple large portable generators that are made to run lift stations when power goes out. We have one of them that has just simply failed and cannot be rebuilt. All the King's horses are not going to do that one. So that's in here, and that's $48,000. Bayside fence replacement. For those of you that have been to the Bayside lift station on the south side of town, the fence is original to probably the wastewater treatment plant that was built there, I think, in the 60s. And that fence is, much of it is just beyond repair. This is $80,000 to replace just a lot of fence down at that location.
So you don't want to do the whole thing?
What's that?
So it says large sections of it, so you're not just going to do the whole thing? You said it's been there since the 60s?
And some of it is still okay. I would love to do the whole thing. There's just only so many dollars to go around, and
Okay.
we have to pick our battles.
Okay.
Clarifier rehabilitation design. The clarifiers, as they exist at the sewer treatment plant right now, are original to the sewer plant in the 90s. They've been fantastic. They're great clarifiers, but they're starting. We've replaced a ton of swing arms and Tobro arms, and there's a lot of things that it needs design, and there's going to be a lot of replacements at the sewer treatment plant in the coming years. This is to design specifically the replacements that we're going to need for the 3 clarifiers that we currently have. That's $30,000. Lift station rehabilitation design. So if any of you, I don't recall, were at the Congressman Krishnamurthy event at the wastewater treatment plant, he had announced that, very tentatively, not approved yet, that we're in line to receive earmark congressional directed spending towards the upgrade of lift stations in the village coming up. In order to effect those modifications, we need to do a design. No matter what, we need to upgrade these lift stations. This is the very first component of that. These lift stations need to be rehabilitated. They are original to the neighborhoods that they're in. I'd love to talk about how lift stations work, but I don't think I can.
Negative.
So anyway, this is the design for those rehabilitations that will eventually occur, no matter how they're paid for. And that's $55,000. Oxidation ditch optimization, which is a great way to phrase things. So what's happening at the wastewater treatment plant is eventually we have a permit with the EPA. A permit says we can do certain things, and the permit changes periodically. When the permit changes, they change what we're allowed to do, what we can put into the environment, what we cannot, how we're supposed to operate. One of the things that's coming is a new limit on phosphorus. However, in the meantime, for us to limit the cost for that down the road upgrade that we're going to have to do to the wastewater treatment plant, if we can get the plant operating extremely efficiently, it will save us money on upgrades that we're required to do in the future. If we can optimize the oxidation ditch, which is the giant spinny thing that's out there, then what that'll do is that'll just help us in the future. This is $20,000. And you'll see other things over the course of the next few years meant towards optimizing operations at the wastewater treatment plant. Actually, next item, oxidation ditch bearing and gearbox repair. Very much like the clarifiers, we have items that are original to the plant that are wearing out, and this is an item that rises to the level that it needed its own item in the capital budget. It is exactly what it says. It's bearings and gearboxes for the ox ditch. STP pump replacement. We have many, many, many pumps. We move water up and down all over the plant every day, 24/7. Some of the pumps are starting to get quite old. This is to replace a number of pumps. It's $50,000. The next page. This is an exciting one. The UV grant, the UV system construction. We use ultraviolet disinfection for about 8 months out of the year. It's our tertiary cleaning process. It is the very last thing that sends the water out into the environment. And yes, it is a UV light, just like everybody was buying during COVID, on a much, much larger scale. We have one in place right now. It has almost entirely failed. We've had to buy parts on eBay. Good news is we have Congressman Krishnamurthy gave us some congressionally directed spending. We're working through that process right now. We expect that our portion of that is going to be $834,000 in '24. Next item is I&I MWRD reporting. I&I stands for inflow and infiltration. Every year we do a report to MWRD, and there's a lot of testing. It's not just a report. There's a lot of testing. Like right now, we're smoke testing. We do lots of different kinds of testing around the village to show how much infiltration we have, because every ounce of clean water that you treat at a wastewater treatment plant is an ounce of water that is replacing actual sewage. So you don't want clean water going into a wastewater treatment plant. That's wasted money. That can just stay in the environment. So what I&I is inflow and infiltration. You don't want that. Let's see. Next item is the Jefferson, I'm sorry, that was $100,000. We do that every year. That's a reoccurring item. The next is the Jefferson Lift Station force main inspection. Some of you have heard me talk about the big force main we have in town. That's the one that keeps me up at night. However, we have a number of smaller force mains in town. Pretty much anywhere there's a lift station, almost, you're going to have at least a short run of a force main. There's one right by Savannah, for example. This force main is over 20 years old, and we've noticed that we're getting a much reduced pump capacity. So basically what that means is that we need to get in there, inspect it, really get a good understanding of what's going on and see why it's behaving like this. Could be pump, could be line, could be any of a number of things. That is $50,000. The next item, manhole sealing. It is exactly what it says. We're going to take manholes and we're going to seal them because that is a source of inflow and infiltration, just like I talked about. Next item, actually, force main item, is the Northway force main replacement. Again, this force main is over 20 years old. We have a distinct degradation of the interior pipe surface. So what that does is that slows down the sewage as it is pumped through there, basically reducing the efficiency of that pipe and forcing the pumps to run both longer and harder than they would under ordinary circumstances. So this was going to replace the pipe. Where am I?
So does that also mean that Northway, the street, is getting repaired as well?
No, those two things are
separate.
not, yeah.
It's separate, okay.
Yeah, not the same thing.
Okay, thank you. Right, because it had recent?
Yeah, we just.
Right.
Yeah, no, it'll be fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. Everything will be great. Sorry, it's late.
Pushing a lot of sewer around.
Yeah, we do. You know, it all flows downhill. Till there's a lift station, which I could spend a lot of time talking about, but I won't. All right, sorry. Sewer rehabilitation. Every year, this is $150,000. This is to reline sewers in town. Basically, it's angioplasty. We can go in and we can take a sewer line that can still be saved and save it and make it good as new, and actually even a little bit better than new. All right. Next item, move to page 31. This is the commuter lot. So the first item is a landscape refresh replacement. This year, as the board approved, new landscaping on the north side. This will be landscaping on the south side to the tune of $75,000. That will complete the project. Everything should look lovely, and designed in-house, by the way. Second item is the Metrolot conversion to pay by plate. That's really hard to say. It's $70,000. So right now we have a Metro commuter lot. It is a little bit challenging. The environment has changed. The commuter environment has changed. A lot of things are different now, but recovering. So if you were to look at our Metro lot on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you would be, I think, very happy. It would appear that users are coming back. Monday and Friday is a different animal, and our monthlies and our annuals have virtually evaporated. There are lots of different ways of doing this, but what we're proposing, what we think is the best use for the users of the lot, for the village, and going forward, is to change our model of how that lot works from pay by space. So you go in and you're in space 126. Instead, you're going to be your license plate, XY123. That's how you will register. And it doesn't matter where you park. You can park anywhere. We're not going to have spaces just for monthlies and annuals anymore. You can park anywhere there's a space, as close as you want to be, or as far away as you want to be. And however, I'm making it sound easy. It's not. It's actually kind of complicated.
It'd be like the Park Whiz app that you use when you go downtown.
Yes.
And you enter in your plate number and you park in the garage and do that.
In fact, although we are going to be upgrading the terminals, we don't expect the terminals will get used very much in the future. We think it's going to be much, much more app-based and you just get on the train and go. However, in addition to what you'll probably see from us in the next couple of weeks to upgrade the terminals, This is really, the purchase enforcement is actually wildly different. It just changes everything, night and day. And this was primarily the purchase of 2 license plate readers that would go on, right now it is believed, well, 2 police department vehicles, probably a parking enforcement, probably a CSO vehicle, but that's still being determined. And what it would give the ability to do is just give the CSO or the parking enforcement officer, they can just drive through the lot and it'll ding them when there's a car that doesn't belong, but everything else will just slide right through it. Instead of spending hours in the lot, they can spend minutes. They have other things to do.
I love it. That's a great idea.
We're pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's coming together very quickly. So definite thanks to Remy and her team for that, and Chief Johnson and his team. I'm just talking about it. They did all the work. I get all the credit.
So, and just so you know, if we don't do this, then we have to restripe the lot and renumber the lot
Right.
and have a CSO go through there and spend a lot of time. So there's similar costs. We just think this long-term is gonna be the more flexible, approach. If we have an event or need a certain, part of the lot that's not gonna be available, it's really not going to affect people. They'll just park in a different location.
Yeah, great idea.
This is the future.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Agreed. So you're saying it's like a device that's gonna be put in the squad car, so then when you drive past it, it'll ding? Is that what you said?
Effectively.
Okay.
It's going to be cameras attached in some fashion, mechanically attached to the top of the vehicle so that when they drive down
to the
the
top of the
aisle,
vehicle. Okay.
it will read the license plates on either side and then notify the officer that there's a car that's not registered.
Okay, okay. Just as an aside, and I don't know if this is the appropriate time to mention this, but, could we have continued, and I guess I'm saying this to the board, could we have continued conversations about, enticement when it comes to parking? I've mentioned before that, and maybe this will solve the issue, but I've mentioned before that there are residents, well, actually, I don't know if they're residents, but those that use our parking lot that have talked about paying every day versus like paying for 5 days and paying for 5 days in advance, and it would be the same as like paying for 3 days, or like paying for like an entire month in advance, and there would be like some sort of like savings.
With the app, it's not quite as meaningful as it maybe was back in the original model of the lot.
Okay.
Whereas you just go on and say, all right, I'm here, give me this day. Back in the day when you had to come in and you had to get a sticker or a door hanger, and you'd buy 5 days, and it was really more of an enforcement tool to make sure that you could easily move in between around. That's why we had designated spaces. I guess maybe I'd encourage you to see it as it gets in place and see how that works. Because I think that shift in model is really going to shift how everything works.
Okay.
Because using
Thank you for
Parkway as the example, you put in when you're gonna be in the lot and when you're gonna be out. You put in, and then it calculates the price based on how long you're gonna be in there. So I'm sure that the software can probably be tweaked if a person needs multiple days, when they're gonna go in and when they're gonna come out. So it probably can accommodate that within the software in the app. But I know people are gonna be really happy that park in the daily rate, that park all the way at the end, and then they walk down there and they see that big empty lot, and you parked all the way on that far end and had to trek down to the station, and you see all those empty spaces. So I'm sure there are gonna be a lot of people happy about that adjustment, that they can now park closer to the station, and not have to, be relegated to the end of the daily parking lot. That's a great idea. I applaud whoever was responsible for this, for putting this together. And I
I'll
know it's
gladly
still
take
in
all the credit.
works. It's still in the works, and there's some things that got to be figured out. But yeah, kudos to whoever came up with this.
Very good. Thank you. We're excited about it too. All right, the next is on page 32. I'm going to move kind of quick through these. We're getting into the vehicles here, and we have a vehicle replacement fund, which I won't go into. These are the vehicles. Replacement of squad equipment for $14,000. Related to the next item, replacement of 4 squad cars. Replacement of a dump truck for $268,000. Next on the next item is replacement of a dump truck for $85,000. By the way, just because we're budgeting these items, we actually have no idea when we're ever see any of them or even
And
be
you know
able
my
to purchase
question
them.
is
Are we
always-
getting hybrid squad cars?
Yeah, okay.
Yes. The plan is when we can get squad cars again,
Yeah.
which there's a big question mark there. We are planning on incorporating hybrids into the squad cars.
All right.
All right, replacement ambulance.
Dump truck.
Did I skip one?
Yep.
Nope, sorry, replacement dump truck for $85,000. That's a rebudget. Replacement ambulance for $471,000. Replacement cargo van for $44,000. Replacement fire engine for $1 million. This is a scheduled replacement for an 18-year-old fire engine. Replacement step van. This is for the main brake truck. We've been trying to buy this for several years now and haven't been able to do it. Replacement pickup for $40,000. This is for the water finance vehicle. The next item on page 35 is the replacement of a community service vehicle. That's for $40,000. Replacement of a command, I guess it should say probably command vehicle. This is a command vehicle for $53,000. Replacement pickup truck for $54,000. The next item is a police department Tahoe, and that will be for replacement for $52,000.
It's actually a pickup that's replacing the Tahoe.
Yes, can't get Tahoes anymore, so we're replacing it with a pickup truck.
We're moving from a Tahoe to a pickup truck?
Yeah, the pickup trucks are fantastic. Everybody really, really likes them. And Tahoes are very, very hard to get.
You don't have to sell me.
Yeah. That might be it.
For you. Okay, so next is, Shubra, are you speaking about the TIFs? Okay, I can if you want. I can, let me find it. Where are they? Are they at
Got
the
through
beginning?
Public Works?
But that's it for, hold on a second. Just want to make sure we didn't miss any. So we have on page 6, and then there's 3 of these, one for TIF 3, TIF 4, and TIF 5, a continuation of the facade improvement program for those 3 TIFs at $100,000 for TIF 3. Purchase of potential properties on Divine, Ontario. Trustee Porter, I think you had a question earlier on this. This is just a placeholder in case properties come available along there in TIF 3. We want to be able to have funds set aside to maybe look at purchasing properties.
Yeah, and my question was, have we, with this kind of fund, have we considered making an offer for properties that we've designated as valuable to the overall makeup of the downtown area that we may want to go in, that may be currently occupied and in business, that, you know, we want to go in and make an offer and see if we can buy someone out? And
Yeah, I think that we've tried to be strategic about whether, you know, a piece of property has come available, or if there's a property that is not being maintained well, and we think that there needs to be a purchase and a demolition, and then it be put back on the market or held for a land bank for future use. We're trying to watch all of those properties and bring about the village's vision
I'll
out
have
there.
an offline conversation with you on my thoughts about this. I don't want to mention any
Okay,
names on a
sure.
recorded meeting. We'll talk offline.
Sure. Then there's a miscellaneous for the village center. that this is, if we find a piece of property, again, that has to be demoed or needs some type of involvement by the village to further the village center plan. This is a placeholder for that, 50,000. There's, again, tip 4, $100,000 for the facade improvement program. Tip 5, $150,000 for the facade improvement program. Again, these are grants on a reimbursement basis up to 50% up to certain maximums depending on the type of property that it is. Is that it? We talked about that. I just want to make sure we didn't miss any of them. While I look, any questions about the overall capital improvement program? These are, again, expenditures that are over $10,000, and we have a 10-year capital plan that kind of guides these requests. I think we have addressed all of them that were in this plan. Any questions? Okay, thank you. And then we will move on to, we're in the process of preparing the budget book for all of you, and then we will proceed with the budget workshops. Pardon me? No. Do we, Remy just mentioned that there was a concern about the date. Trustee Gutierrez, did you have an issue with one of the dates of the workshop?
One of the dates of the budget meetings was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's when the historic meeting is going to, the committee gathers. And the last one was during our CIDC meeting, and we had to move that. So I'd rather that these be done on Thursdays and not when we have committees.
So the week, the budget workshops are on the 24th and 25th.
Correct.
I do think that there's a Sister Cities meeting on the 26th. I don't know that we're going to be able to find dates that don't conflict with some meeting or somebody's schedules.
Yeah.
You know, move it if the board would like to move it to Thursday. Just again, there's a Sister Cities meeting that evening, so it just depends on people's availability.
What about the 19th?
It can't be that sooner. We're in the process of putting the book together, so. So the 24th, the workshops are scheduled the 24th and 25th. We could do the 26th as well. We could try to get through it all on the 25th. Remy says she can talk really, really fast, but I don't know that that'll give you enough time to properly review the budget in one day. That might be a lot. I believe there's some conflicts on the 23rd. So the available ones that week are 24th, 25th, and 26th.
I would prefer you not move to the 26th. Because
Okay,
John and I both are connected to Sister Cities.
Are we able to move the historic meeting?
We've already moved my CIDC meeting. And I got feedback and historic committee is.
Or is there somebody else that can go? Because the meeting can be held, we can just find another room for the historic committee to meet in.
You're talking about the 26th of October?
No, we're talking about the 24th of October. There's a conflict. Because I think Kevin Peeney, right, is the staff member? Yeah, so I know that Schubert will be at the budget meeting, but.
Yeah, if they can move that,
Move the room?
you can find a room for
Oh, for sure, we can, yeah, we can find a room, for sure. So we'll just leave it at the 24th and 25th for those budget meetings, and we'll get through it as quickly as possible. Hopefully, we don't need another additional date after that. Thank you. concludes my
Everybody
report.
agrees we're fixed on the 24th and 25th?
There, it sounds like those are the best dates. So that concludes my report, Mayor.
Oh, hmm?
It's me.
Clerk's report.
Hi.
Keep this turkey moving.
Okay, so I attended the DuPage County Clerks yesterday, and we met with the notary public that shared with all the fun changes that are coming. So if you are a notary and you'd like to know what the changes are, come visit me, starting January. Get your little books ready. December 1st is our tree lighting, and then we are also bringing back the Santa in the Gazebo on Tuesday nights this year. So we have a lot of things coming, so stay tuned, mark your calendar, and that's all I have, sir.
Santa at the gazebo was pretty cool.
He's coming back.
My wife and I actually got in the same photo with our dog.
Did you like it?
My students got a big bang out of that.
Oh, good. Tuesday, the 5th and the 12th this year.
Are we having hot chocolate?
At the tree lighting, yes.
Okay, moving right along. I'm getting poked.
Thank you, Bernie.
Bernie?
Bernie, do you have your,
I have no report, thank you.
No wonder he spoke to me.
Mr. Bob?
All right, next. Trustee reports. Trustee Krigi.
I attended the recycling event. And, Lions Club came out. I forget how many sets of eyeglasses they got, but 300? Two boxes.
Oh, you did?
And it was a good event. There was a lot of people there.
Good. Glad to hear. Trustee Husseini.
Thank you, Mayor. We held the business after hours, September 13th. Thank you, Trustee Bancole and Trustee Porter for coming. It was really good event, successful. Shubra and the team, thank you for putting that event together, and it went very well. Just FYI, I will be out of country starting October 15th through 23rd. It's a short trip. And 24th, I should be back for the workshop, but 19th, I'll miss the board meeting, October 19th. That's it for my report, Mayor.
Oh, are you finished?
Mayor's sleeping on that.
He did? Okay. Safe travels on your trip. Trustee Gutierrez.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will try to be brief. I wanted to know if when we read over the beginning of the meetings, if we can please read over the consent agenda items. It helps those that are watching online to know what we're talking about. When we say consent agenda, they don't know. So if we can go back to reading them. CIDC is holding a special event in December. Is that right, Barry?
Mid-November to mid-December.
Sorry, mid-November through December. It's holidays around the world, so different the ways that they lights. We celebrate Three Kings Day or Christmas, etc. And that's going to be put up shortly. There'll be a QR code for that so that folks can, whether it's share a recipe or an art or something like that, they can do that. The Historic Committee met. I had shared that we visited the cemetery in Greenbrook. I was very sad to find out that there's 23 bodies there, but only a handful of headstones. And so we reached out, and I know Trustee Kunkel has done a lot of work on this as well, to see what oversight there is there, but there really isn't. There hasn't been a burial there since 1977. And so because of that, there's really no oversight, so they just continue to mow the grass. Buried there are Schick, Harmoning, and other important folks to our history. I'm not sure what the answer is. We're trying to work with the church, but it's not an easy path to follow. But I don't know if we have an ordinance or any oversight on this as well. But they are exempt from the Illinois ordinances because it's not an active cemetery.
What was that?
they're exempt from the oversight from what used to be the Office of Professional Standards. It's now Financial and Professional Standards, something like that, that oversees them. They're exempt from that because no one has been buried there since 1977. But the bodies that are there, the tombstones have been vandalized to the point that whatever's left there, there's just grass growing over it. So we don't know where they're buried. And there's some important people buried there. So, what else? I know that we've been working with the church to present them with the plaque here, the church in Ontaриoville, and I know that they wanted to move it to another time. The historic committee does not want to wait anymore. We're going to put this plaque up. So we're waiting on them, and we'll just show up and drill it onto the wall if we have to. But we're hoping to do that soon. And then finally, I know that you have heard the news about the immigrants that are coming. Chicago's getting 10 buses a day, and I keep telling you not to mistake the idea that they're all staying in Chicago, because that's not true. And along those lines, I wanted to let you know that, it's no secret we have a shortage of workers in America these days for some reason. Recently, the Biden administration passed the temporary protected status for immigrants that have been in the country from Venezuela particularly. However, this bypasses and overlooks the 11 million long-term workers that we've had here that have been working in the shadows, that are our cooks. They are in our hospitals. They sustain America. They contribute $9.8 billion in federal and state and local taxes. And so on October 12th, there will be a rally in Pilsen for the Here to Work campaign that we're asking the current administration to look at passing a bill to give them, if there's no pathway to citizenship, a parole in place, which means that they would be able to get temporary work permits or work permits so that they can do the work. And this will boost our economy up to $1.7 trillion in the next 10 years if they had their work permits. So on October 12th, we'll be rallying at Pilsen, and that is my report.
Thank you. Who am I missing? Porter. Oh, Trustee Porter?
Very briefly, I just want to reiterate that at the recent IML conference, that Sister Cities continued in its award-winning ways, this time receiving an award from the IML at each conference on Saturday. They have a luncheon and they recognize sister cities that have made outstanding contributions to the community. And we received an award for our Juneteenth program, which I was there to receive along with the mayor and two of my fellow committee members. And I just think it goes to show that the value of an event can't only be measured by the attendance or the perceived attendance of the event, but by the contribution that it makes to a community. And it was really rewarding and refreshing to see that other communities and the state recognized the efforts that went into producing that event and that it did produce value for our community and for the state. So thanks to the committee members that worked so hard, and thanks also for Catherine Perez, our liaison, who works her butt off whenever we have these events. She goes above and beyond the call to help us put these events together, and none of this could have been possible without her help and assistance through this. So Chief Johnson, make sure you relay that to Catherine and tell her how much I appreciate her and how much the committee appreciates her hard work and efforts. And thanks to all of the departments, Public Works, who assist us in erecting the tents and getting the chairs, helping the vendors find their places, to the police department who directs traffic closing off Ontarrioville Road and provide the protection, making our people feel safe at these events. That doesn't go unnoticed, and it's very much appreciated. It's really a collaboration of all of the village departments. I know Sister Cities is heading the effort, but without Public Works, without the fire department, without the police department, you know, working hard on these events, they wouldn't happen. So we're not an island. We don't operate in a silo. We depend on your help and your assistance. So I just want to thank all involved. You all have a part in the award that we received at the IML conference. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kunkel?
Yes, well, Herb took up the Sister Cities, we have no report on that. Like to talk a little bit about airplane noise. Out of here, airplanes leave about every 45 seconds from the hour, approximately 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. So it's inbound and out. Every 45 seconds, the plane is in the air above the noise. So the noise, unfortunately, during the day, the ONCC doesn't cover the daytime as much as it does night. Only this year, or excuse me, this month, we only had 4 households called, 11 complaints versus last month it was.
Sorry, John, is your mic on?
31. Oh, sorry. There was 31 complaints last month, and this month there was 11. So that concludes my report. Fire department open house on October 14th. Want to make sure you get out there. If you want to hear if your vision and your hearing tested, the Lions will be there with the big van. We'll just shove you in the back and in a quiet room. That's it. That's all I have.
Very good, John. That it?
That's it.
Very good. Trustee Bencoy?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So it is still, I want to acknowledge that it is still National Hispanic Heritage Month until October 15th. But I also want to acknowledge that at the start of October, it became, excuse me, Filipino American Heritage Month. So I did want to acknowledge that, a month dedicated to celebrating the many achievements of Filipino Americans in our nation. But I also recently found out that this month was created to also signify the very first Filipinos that arrived in the United States in 1587. So the more you know.
1537?
1587.
Oh, 87.
Mm-hmm.
15, yeah, okay.
I also wanted to highlight 2 different energy assistance opportunities for DuPage and Cook County residents. So for residents in DuPage, they can now apply for financial assistance with their natural gas, propane, and or electric bills. It is income, eligibility is based on income, but I did want to make sure our DuPage County residents were aware of that program as we head into the colder months. And in Cook County just recently announced that they've allocated $3 million in funding to a new solar panel installation program. So if, again, it's based off of income, but if you're eligible, you can receive solar panels installed on your home free of charge. And so just wanted to make sure that our Cook County residents were aware of that. Sorry. I recently saw that it's it's time for our annual Nominate Your Favorite Hanover Park Business. So remember to vote for your favorite Hanover Park business, and lets them know that, you know, we value them, we appreciate them. It's always fun. So just wanted to send out that reminder, and wanted to thank Trustee Kunkel and Trustee Prigge for attending the recycling event, and also wanted to thank Village Engineer John Stell and our environmental committee for putting on that successful event. wasn't able to attend. But we have another great environmental committee event coming up on October 14th. It is our annual DuPage River Sweep, where we spend time taking all sorts of interesting items out of our river. And it is a great way to continue to keep our river clean. So it's coming up on Saturday, October 14th, and it's at 9 a.m. And I did also want to, I don't think it's been mentioned, but our our police department is putting on another catalytic converter theft prevention event. I think they're really successful, so thank you for continuing to put these on. But they're free of charge, it's first come, first serve, and the next one is Tuesday, October 10th, from 10 to 2 at Suburban Tire on Lake Street.
I haven't seen the flyer on that. It's on Facebook?
It's not social media.
Oh, because I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. People really liked it.
And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, you just forwarded it to me. I'll find it. Oh, executive session, section 2C6, setting a price for the sale of property owned by the Village of Hanover Park. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
We will not be returning.
We will not be returning. Thank you very much.
Correct.
Christie, call the roll.
Trustee Kunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Bancole?
Yes.
Trustee Prigi?
Yes.
Trustee Husani?
Yes.
Trustee Gutierrez? And Trustee Porter?
Yes. Thank you. Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. See you in executive session. Did you want this?